AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Fashion Star After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Fashion Star After Show.
Hey, Bing is for doing, and we're here doing another episode of Fashion Star Season 2, Episode 3, Something for Everyone. And I'm your host, Erika Vieira, and I'm here at the AFTERBUZZ Studios, and I've got Diona, who, unfortunately, she could tell why she's not here, but unfortunately, it wasn't able to make it to the studio, but we've got her on the line. She's a trooper. She's still here for the show. Diona, say hello.
Hey guys, thanks for holding it down in the studio, Erica. Unfortunately, I got caught in some really nasty LA traffic, so I'm coming to you via phone, but I'm still here. We can still talk Fashion Star.
Yeah, I know, and that's just the way of living in LA. For those of you guys listening that are not here or from here or visited here, the traffic, even on a Sunday, is quite horrendous. And if there's an accident or anything, sometimes a freeway will close and you're stuck. So Diona wasn't able to make it here in time, so we decided the best thing for the show is just to have her call in. So let's get started. Diona, any thoughts on just the episode overall?
Well, first of all, I love the fact that this episode, is appropriately titled Something for Everyone. Mm-hmm. And I think what's so important about that is for the designers to know that I think just the fact that, we live in LA, or when you live in a big city, you kind of tend to think, about sizes 2 and a 4 and a 6. But when in reality, the average size of a woman is a size 14. I think that's the latest statistic. So wow. I'm glad that this challenge really pushed the designers to not only, get outside of their comfort zone and design something for, quote unquote, the average size woman, but for everybody. So I was really happy to see this challenge, especially a little early on in the season. How about you?
I totally agree. I think it's a great challenge, and I think some of the designers had problems with that. Not problems, but they had, they struggled a little bit with that, because they definitely had, some of them have a very specific look, a very specific customer, a very specific, woman that they designed for, a man, and getting outside of that comfort zone was difficult, which we saw. But it is the reality of the fashion business that, like you said, yeah. It's not just about, the size 2 model or the size 4. It's about something that fits on everyone, and that's the reality of a department store, a big store like Express, that they are they're providing clothing for the masses, for everybody here in the United States. And when they're picking styles, they can't pick styles that, we're only going to offer this in a 2, 4, or 6 because it only looks good on a petite girl, or we're only going to offer this in a 14 or 16 because it just doesn't look good on a, it only looks good on the voluptuous girl. So, they have to think about styles that are good for everyone, and that's part of their process of buying. So it completely makes sense that that would be the focus of today's episode. So,
exactly, and I definitely think it's all about versatility, and I also think a challenge like this definitely it's going to help separate, who's a really great designer and who's not. Just the fact that you can think outside of the box and you can think about, thing for 2 very different types of people, men and women.
Yeah. So
let's dig in, Erica.
Huh?
I said, let's dig in.
Yeah, let's get started. So I do have photos here this week. We did get suggestions from some of our viewers saying that it's, make it really easy to have some photos. So we listened and we brought some photos, and I think it'll bring a nice element to the show from here on out. Awesome. So we are going to get started here. Let me see. Let me make sure we're starting here with this the peach dress. I'm trying to remember whose this one is. It's the lace. Okay, it's just, we're gonna start here with Team John, and this is the lace dress from Amber, and and so Diona, do you have any thoughts on her dress from Team John?
Well, you know what's funny is that immediately when I saw her lace dress, at first I was thinking, oh, I don't know, what is that going to look like on a larger size? Because not only was it lace, and lace can be a very, you know, tricky fabric, but then it was that, you know, peachy reddish color, and then, you know, the back of the dress had this, like, kind of tie-up lace-up detail. So I was a little nervous for her with that dress. But I have to say, when I saw the plus-size version of that dress come out, and which, by the way, I actually know the model, Danica, that did that. But when I saw the plus-size dress come out, I was actually pleasantly surprised at how nice it looked on the plus-size girl. What did you think?
You know, I was mixed on this dress because from the front, I loved it. I thought that it was flattering on the plus-size girl. It was flattering on, I don't know what she is, like a size 2 or 4 model. I thought it was a great dress that fit that description of being flattering for all shapes and sizes. I love the color. That was a big focus for this episode as well. The fact that they are creating right now for spring, for right now, and paying attention to colors and trends of colors is really important. So I thought the color, that orangey red, is so on point right now for this season. That's like, you know, it was the color of the year last year. It's still spilling over into this year. And I love the front. I hated that back. I hated that back. I thought it was so awful. I thought it really ruined the dress. It turned, to me, it turned into a dress that you, like, I hate to say this, would find at like Forever 21. Like, it cheapened the dress. I didn't like it. What I thought was interesting, though, was that Saks said they love that leather and lace detail, and I didn't realize that it was leather. I didn't know that until he said that. So maybe in person it looks different. Maybe it shows different, but I was really mixed. And just to recap, Express and Saks both put in bids. Express put it in at $50K, Saks at $55K, and Saks won. Express stayed at their 50K. So, you know, I was mixed. It wasn't, I wasn't loving it. I did love it when she walked out in the front. Lace is so on trend too, but that back, I hated that back. So.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. But you know. So Amber got to buy $55K,
she did.
And she got it from Saks.
Yeah, so, that's great. That's exciting. All right, next photo. Uh-oh. Well, we're pulling them up. Okay, so we've got the second design, which was a menswear design, and it was the collared shirt from Brandon. Yes, still on Team John. So what did you think about that shirt?
I actually thought it was really simple. It was simple, it fit well. And another interesting thing I kind of want to point out, I found it interesting seeing the two different models for, you know, when it came to men, you know, what's considered quote-unquote plus size for men. Because I don't know about you, but I kind of felt like the difference between the average size and the quote-unquote plus size, I felt like it was very, very similar, if not the same. Because I think when we think plus size for a guy, I think that ends up being interpreted as, you know, he's got muscles, he's built, maybe he's taller. So I didn't see that big of a distinction between the average size and the plus size when it came to men. What did you think?
I have to agree, especially with this style. The other one was a little bit more of a distinction, but this one especially, honestly, even looking at the photos side by side, they look like they could be brothers or twins. Like, they look almost exactly the same. Like, and now looking at it even more, they don't look, the shirt doesn't even look like a different size. Like, it just looks the same. And it does seem silly because the whole point of this is to show different sizes. And I don't, you might know this more than me, but don't the designers pick the models? Don't they pick it? Or do they have much of a say?
No,
they don't?
They don't. Okay. They don't get to pick their models.
Oh, okay.
It's not like Project Runway, where they have that type of luxury. No.
Okay. So, like, because I would think, if I were a designer, I would want to show how versatile this shirt is, and like I wouldn't want to pick two guys around the same size. So, what did you think though of the shirt itself?
I liked it. I thought it was simple. I thought it was very wearable. It was easy. Yeah. But again, I think the biggest thing that threw me is that I wasn't seeing a very big distinction between the sizes, not the same way that we see it with women. Yeah. And maybe that's what the big difference is between between, you know, when it comes to dressing a man and dressing a woman, you know? I think with men, it's like either you have a man that's average size, you go from that, or you go to, like, big and tall, you know? Like, there's really not a lot in between. You know?
And I agree. There's really not. I mean, with women, it's so different because you've got different bust sizes, waists. Some women have issues on their stomach or their arms or their legs. With men, it's like either they're big or bigger, or you know, I agree. It's not the same. What was interesting though with this episode is they did show like the two menswear designers kind of going at it a little bit. Brandon wasn't digging David's design, and it was interesting because Brandon mention exactly, and we'll talk about it later, why David's design didn't end up getting bought, about the sweater and clean to the stomach and all that. So he was pretty on point, and which makes me think when watching the episode that Brandon knows his stuff too. So
I agree.
You know, obviously the buyers liked it. Express put in a bid at $75,000, and Macy's put one in at $80,000.
Exactly, and Macy's won out this time.
Yeah. So Macy's went out at $80,000, and yeah, next photo, please. All right, so we're still on Team John, and we've got Cassandra's tunic, her Geo tunic. What did you think about this?
Tunic.
Yeah.
I really liked this top. I thought it was flattering on both ladies. I loved like the placement of the color and the pattern. I thought it was very, very flattering. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I really liked it. I thought she hit the nail on the head with this tunic, and her risk a little bit of not doing a dress and doing something different really paid off, because she did a very good job. There was it looked very well thought out, and it was totally on point, like I said, with the task at hand. Show it to be flattering on both different body types, and that's exactly what she did. And I thought she did it. I think she was a slam dunk, and I think this is one of the better designs for the week, for sure. And
I'm sorry.
Oh no, what were you saying?
I was going to say another thing I love so much about this top. You know, not only can every woman wear it, but like how easy is it to wear? Like you can wear something like that with jeans, with leggings, like with this mini skirt. So like I was really happy to see Cassandra pull something out that was just really wearable.
So true. Totally agree. And Express put in a bid at $110,000. So they liked it. They liked it. All right. So the next one, we're jumping around a little bit. We're going over to Team Nicole, and we're doing Daniel's dress.
Hang on really quick.
Yeah.
Erika, do you want to cover the last person from Team John, and that's Sylvia?
Well, we have photos, so I'm just going in the order of the photos.
Okay.
And so we're going to go over to Daniel, which is his dress that was kind of inspired by a tree. And what did you think about this?
I actually liked his dress. I actually really liked it, but obviously, you know, the judges didn't, so.
Yeah.
What did you think?
You know, I didn't like it. I really didn't. I forget who it was who said it, but I think it was, I don't know who said it, but it did seem a little bit gimmicky. Or I think Saks, I think they said it. It seemed a little gimmicky. It seemed a little, like, I understand where he was trying to go with it, but it was too literal in a way. And I personally didn't like it. I didn't think they were going to buy it when they came out. When the dress came out, I didn't think, I would be surprised if they bought it. It's not really sellable. It's not really wearable. And to be quite honest, it didn't look flattering on the plus size girl at all either, especially when she turned around. It didn't look good. So I was really disappointed because Daniel has a little bit more of a creative eye. He's a little bit more avant-garde, and it's really exciting when someone can really take that kind of a talent but make it wearable. You can get some really fantastic, beautiful things, and I think we've been seeing some good things from him. This one was just a total miss for me. So I really didn't like it. But I thought it was funny. I wrote this down, and this is what he said. And I guess someone needs to be arrested, because he said, quote, "If someone doesn't buy this dress, it's a crime against fashion." So.
Well, yeah, I guess he committed a crime.
Yep.
Because, and let's just also throw out there that Daniel is on Team Nicole.
Yep, Team Nicole.
And unfortunately, I mean, this round for Nicole wasn't so great, because no one got a buy, but moving on.
Yeah, it was not good for Team Nicole. But all right, let's go on to the next photo. So this one, we're actually going over to the other menswear designer, and it's David on Team Jessica. And so this one was a reversible, it's a reversible cardigan. And yeah, what did you think about this reversible cardigan?
Well, first of all, I think when it comes to gimmicky things for men's fashion, I don't think gimmicky things, like the 2-for-1, stuff like that, I don't think they necessarily work as well for men as they do for women, especially when it comes to something that's reversible. And then the second thing I wanted to call out is that he made a reversible item, yet he didn't show how it's reversible on the runway. Like, I would have loved to see one of the models come out showing the other side. And we didn't see that.
I totally agree, because I was really curious to see what the other side looked like. And I thought one of them at the end of the runway was going to take it off and, like, flip it over and put it back on so we could see it. But I thought that was weird, too. And I don't know whose fault that was, but I just thought that was just super odd as well. If you're going to spend all that time making something reversible, let's see it. But I liked this sweater. I thought it was cool. I liked the color choice. I was a little disappointed that there wasn't a buy, because I know what you're saying, that sometimes it can, like a twofer can be seen a little bit as gimmicky, but I think for men, when it's done really well and right, it's good, because men are very practical. It's like they see something, they get double wear out of it. Like, that's cool, So I was a little disappointed that it didn't get any buys, but yeah, I mean, they didn't like the fabric choice. They didn't like, they thought it was too lightweight, and they just didn't think it was flattering on the larger model. So.
And one other thing that I wanted to point out, I really liked the feedback that Erika from Express said. She made the comment basically along the lines of saying, you've got, the quote-unquote average size guy, and then you've got, like, this guy, again, we talked about this before with Daniel, the male models. You have this other guy who's kind of like, he's built, but he's not necessarily, like, plus size. And the way he made that cardigan, it wasn't really flattering, like, the midsection. So you have to think about the guy who's, like, the big and tall guy, instead of, like, he has skinny and he has beefcake, but what about that guy in between? So I thought she made that was a really good feedback for him.
I agree. And one other thing about David, which was, I knew at the beginning of the episode when they were kind of putting him, they're really focusing on him, especially since he didn't have any bids, and Jessica was pretty nervous, and they showed him, they really didn't show him in a great light, because it almost looked like he was like running around the design studio with like a chicken with his head cut off, like asking everybody, what do you think? Oh, what do you think? What do you think? So, it just, I had a feeling that it just wasn't going to turn out. I was hoping he'd get a bid, because I did feel bad, because, they put emphasis. Jessica was nervous. She says, 3 strikes, that's going to be tough. And she's really been fighting for him. So, I mean, as we'll talk about later on with, who gets eliminated, David just wasn't doing so hot.
Yep. No buys for David.
No.
What's up next?
All right. So we've got the peplum dress from same thing on Team Jessica from Hunter. So we got the black and leopard print peplum dress. What did you think about this dress?
Well, first of all, peplum is one of the hottest women's wear trends out there right now. So she definitely hit on a really great trend. I thought the dress is extremely flattering on both sides women. And I know we haven't gotten to it yet, but from Team Nicole, Johanna also did a peplum dress, and I think her dress didn't work because the peplum just wasn't right, and I know we'll get to that. But for Hunter, I think she did it really well. And I think it's also nice to point out that Hunter, at this point, she's leading the pack for this competition. She's got, a total of $275,000 in sales so far. So she's a competitor to beat. I love the dress. I thought it worked for both for both sizes. What did you think?
I love the dress too. I loved it. I thought it was super cute. My only criticism of it is that they kept on talking about fabric choices and colors for spring. I just wasn't sure about this black and leopard print for spring, and because of that, I wasn't sure if she was going to get a buy or. But they still liked it, and I think, like you said, it's super flattering. I thought it was adorable. I thought it was really cute. Peplum, like you said, is hot. Leopard and animal print isn't necessarily hot, which is why I was still back and forth.
I'm gonna disagree with you there. When it comes to leopard print, I think that's one thing that's like it's a constant in fashion. I think it always comes up season after season after season. I tend to think of it as like just kind of like a basic print these days.
Yeah. Yeah, you see it all the time. You always see it. Yeah. But I just wasn't sure with their emphasis on the colors and stuff right now for spring if they were gonna look at that as a negative. But the peplum was really well placed and it was very well done, and I loved it. She got a $60,000 buy from Express, and they loved the animal print. They thought it was great. So, and with Hunter, I feel like she's kind of turning into the darling of the show a little bit. I feel like they're really focusing on her story. I don't know how I feel about it because a lot of the other designers their dream is to aspire to be in one of these stores. Like, she already had the chance, and like, yeah, I get it. It sucks to be taken out, but she has a huge opportunity in front of her. In some ways, I don't feel sorry for her, and she's sitting there crying, and I'm like, okay, just get over it. Now you got another chance to be in front of these buyers. That's huge, you know? They obviously saw something to let you on the show, but I just felt like they were giving her a lot of extra time, and they let her kind of make her like say something with the host, Louise is her name, I think, and I was like, I don't know. I really like Hunter and her designs, but I think I was a little annoyed about that. But what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think out of all the people there, she really, you know, we know how much she does want it because she has had that success before, and you know that's the name of the game when it comes to fashion. You know, these are things that happen and it's reality. So I was actually a little endeared by her getting choked up a little bit because she's the one person who she had it, you know, and it was taken away, and that's what happens sometimes, and that's only gonna, you know, you learn from it and you try to get better. So I think of all the people there, she's definitely not taking this experience for granted, and she's doing everything she can to work her ass off. So it didn't bother me.
You liked it. Well, good. I think that was their intention, and people will have different views on that, but I still like her. I like her, and I like her designs. I think they're really, really cute. So we're rounding out Team Jessica with Garrett and Desiree's dress. It's the kind of cowl neck blue one with like almost like the pencil looking skirt. What do you think about that?
I actually liked it, and just what I liked about it is that cowl neck, you know, I think it is a very flattering silhouette, whether you are, you know, a size 2 or you're a size 12. And the other thing that I liked about it, cowl neck is very flattering if you have a bust. Yep. Now, if you're not busty, you can, you know. But I really like the dress. I love the silhouette. I like the fact that it was, you know, a darker color on the bottom, it was a black on the bottom, and it was a nice top of blue on top. So I thought it was very flattering, and I loved it.
I loved it too. I thought it was great. I totally agree with you. Super flattering. Beautiful on both sides, both girls. I mean, both sizes looked awesome in this dress. I mean, but you have to say this is a plus size model. The girl's gorgeous anyways, and so it's kind of like, you know, she has a beautiful figure. But I mean, this dress looked beautiful on both sizes, and I love the color. I love the blue. Macy's put in a bid at $50,000, Saks at $55,000. I have to say, I was a little bit surprised that Saks put in a bid for this. This dress looked way more like Macy's or Express to me. It did not look like Saks, and I was a little surprised about that. But you know, guess he saw something in it, thought it would sell in the store, and yeah, he liked it.
You know what? I agree with you to a certain extent. I think looking at it, you might not think so much Saks, but I think it all boils down to what type of fabrics and materials they chose.
Yep, and it's hard to tell that.
That's the one thing we don't get from this show. We don't, you know, we don't get to touch it and feel it and see it in person. But But I'm willing to bet you if that were like if the top were in like a silk jersey or something like that, I could see where it would fit in fact.
And I'm not sure what that embellishment is made out of either. That shoulder little bow, it's hard to tell. And it's so true when it comes to higher end, you know, department stores and things like that versus maybe like an H&M or even an Express. It's the fabrics and the cuts, but the fabrics that make such a huge difference, and we don't really get to see that. But yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. So next we're going to move on to the second little peplum dress that was on Team Nicole, and that's Johanna with the red and black peplum dress. What did you think about this? I have a feeling I know.
Now this is the second peplum that we've seen, you know, for this episode, and just like we were saying before, you know, the first one was from Hunter. I think the way she cut it in the front, it was just way too short, so it wasn't flattering for both sizes. So that was her downfall. That, and then her other downfall was her color choices. She used red and black, and again, we have to keep in mind, this is supposed to be for, you know, buy now, wear now for spring, and she gave us really, like, something that seasonal colors like for holiday, and that's the exact feedback that Express gave. You know, the color choice just wasn't right. So I wasn't surprised that Johanna didn't get a buy for this.
I wasn't surprised at all. I hate this because I thought Johanna did a beautiful job the last few weeks. I thought this dress was awful. Like, it came down the runway and I'm like, is that a Halloween costume for the Queen of Hearts? Like, it was so bad. I was like shocked at how bad it was because I'm thinking the whole time we see her, she's talking about like, oh, it's so important that the plus size girls like feel good and feel sexy, and I'm here to make them a dress that makes them feel that way. And if anything, it made the plus size model look awful. Even the not plus size model was awful. It was such a bad dress, and to be honest, like, I almost felt like she should have gone home for this dress. It was so poorly executed. It was so bad. I just didn't like it, and I was so disappointed because she had done some gorgeous stuff in the previous 2 weeks, and it was so bad. And like you said, I mean, the color choices were off. Even if the color choices, though, to be honest, were like tan and orange or green or seafoam green, which is a hot color right now, I still think the dress would have looked awful. The peplum wasn't placed well. The belt looked a little off. Those shoulder things were off. It just, everything about it was bad. And but you know, and she went against what Nicole said about the color, and Nicole didn't like that. She said, I told you do a different color and you didn't listen to me. And Nicole even said at the beginning, I mean, after she saw her designs, and they asked her, so what do you think? And Nicole's like, there's some surprises. That's all she said about her designers. And you're like, uh-oh. So no offer for Johanna's Queen of Hearts dress.
Okay.
All right. So we're rounding out Nicole's team now with Priscilla. And so we got Priscilla's kind of peekaboo cutout gray dress. What did you think about this?
Well, the minute I saw the, you know, smaller model come out and I saw that cutout, I knew she was doomed. First of all, no larger sized woman wants to wear a cutout like that. It was just extremely unflattering. She had it cut out in the stomach area. It was all wrong from the very beginning, and I just don't know what the hell she was thinking. I thought it was horrible, and not surprised she didn't get a buy from anybody. What did you think? Yeah,
you know, actually, when the first girl came out, I wasn't thinking about anything like in regards to like, oh, I wasn't looking from it from a critical standpoint of like, oh, is this going to look good on the plus size girl? When the first model came out, I actually liked it. I liked it like for me or something I would wear. I was like, oh, that's cute. I was like, oh, okay. But then when the plus size model came out, I was like, oh gosh, she did not do a good job with this task. And it did not look good on the plus size model. And we saw this plus size model, we saw her, I think she's the same one in some of the other dresses, and she's gorgeous. And the other dresses, she looked amazing. And this one, you're like, oh God, like the cut, everything about it just looked bad. When the plus size model came out, it wasn't created well or well tailored.
It was, terrible choice.
And you know, they did show during the design process, like Priscilla was really, really nervous. Like she's like, I don't know, I'm a very specific person with my designs. I have a very specific inspiration. And you know, that is what Nicole said too. Like she needs to take that inspiration that she has and make it now, make it relevant, make it wearable. And unfortunately, in this case, it just was a mess, and she just didn't.
No.
She didn't deliver, and she didn't get any offers at all. And and I think it was Erika who said this, and she said you put yourself in a specific category, and you need to think more practically. Like you have to think more globally, or you have to think from a larger standpoint or the big picture, and she's not. She's falling victim to something that a lot of designers do, which is they're very focused and detailed, which is what makes them a really good designer, but they lose sight of the big picture, and she's totally falling victim to that, which happens to a lot of designers, and it usually happens to a lot of new designers. I mean, sometimes season one, but they're so focused on their intricate little designs that they forget and lose sight of the what's the big picture here.
The big picture.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened here, and it was too bad because I'm rooting for Priscilla. Like, I think she has a cool inspiration, and I really would like to see her do something really good. So I'm rooting for her. I was a little sad when that happened. All right, so
we have Daniel up for Team Nicole for the last one.
We already got Daniel. We took care of him. So the last one is from Team John.
Did we talk about Daniel in the shift dress?
The tree dress, yeah.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
So we've got
the last one is Sylvia.
Sylvia from Team John. So with Sylvia, she's got her A-line coat dress with the little white flowers. What do you think about that?
I have to say, I didn't really enjoy that silhouette on the plus-size girl, and I'll tell you why. I happen to be busty on the top, for all you people, in case you wanted to know. And I think that a neckline like that, like a crew neck neckline, I feel like it's a little too boxy and a little too much. But I will say, like, an A-line dress is a very flattering dress for many different body types. So that, I think she got right. I wasn't 100% crazy about it on the plus-size girl.
I have to agree. I actually wasn't crazy about it at all. I thought that on both of the models, like the boxy, that's exactly what I felt. On top, it was boxy, and I felt that I didn't think it was flattering dress. I didn't like it. I didn't really like I wasn't feeling like the whole flowers. It didn't appeal to me. I didn't think it was that on trend right now. The collar and everything about it, I just felt it was just a disappointing style, and I was actually really surprised that she got bought. I didn't think she was going to. I really didn't think that they were going to buy, and especially Macy's, because it doesn't seem to me like a very practical or wearable item, and Macy's disagreed. They put in a buy at $80,000. She said, I love this dress. It's a smart design. It's awesome on both a size 2 and a size 12, so maybe it looks different in person. I don't know, but I was really surprised about that outcome. So.
Well, you know what, though? I will say, having, worked for Macy's corporate for as long as I did, it is a very Macy's. I could see that in Macy's. It's very much the aesthetic of the Macy's customer, the Macy's brand. So I do get why they got it. I do. It makes sense to me.
It's kind of like that INC brand almost. It kind of reminded me of that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It reminds me of one of like Macy's private brands.
Yeah.
Like a Charter Club or INC or Style & Co. Yeah.
That's what I thought too. Because they use a lot of this flower type detail. Like no matter if it's in or not, or like from season to season, I feel like you always see a little bit of that. And it kind of reminded me of that when she put the bid out. I was like, well, maybe I don't know. Maybe she's coming from that perspective, but yeah, I agree too. So that's all the design. So at the end, Team John got bought all 4, and he has 4. The other 2 mentors had only 3 designers. Team John had 4, and all of them got bought. I have to say though, with Team John, I was a little underwhelmed by all the styles overall. I know they all got bought, but there wasn't one within his that I was crazy about. And just to remind you, you got Amber's lace dress, you got Brandon's menswear top, the collar top, Sylvia's coat dress we just saw, and Cassandra's geo tunic. Like my favorite of the group was the geo tunic, but even then it wasn't something I personally would rush out and buy.
Well, I also think something important to notate for this particular episode, Team John Barbados, he's the only mentor that has a full team intact. He's got all 4 people.
Yep.
And for this particular episode, just like you just said, every single designer, all 4 designers got 5. Team Nicole is down to 3 people, and for Nicole's team, no one got a buy. So I think that's really interesting to point out. And then, of course, Jessica still has 3 people left, Hunter, Jesse, Ray, Garrett, and David, and she got 2 buys from her team. So I thought that was kind of interesting just to notate those little bits of information.
I know Nicole got no buy at all. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, no buys.
And I was like, and the change this season, which kind of, it brought in another level, which is these mentors and the different teams. And now we see a little bit of this. It's like, wow, John's team is doing really well, and Nicole's team wasn't doing that good. I wonder if there is something with what they're mentoring, if that has anything to do with it, or if it's the designers. And you start thinking like that. You're like, oh, wow, it adds another level to the show, which is pretty interesting. It makes it more enjoyable to watch.
I think we're going to see more of that moving forward.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about who's up for elimination. So obviously it's all 3 people from Nicole's team. You got Priscilla, Joanna, and Daniel, and then from Team Jessica, it's David.
Yep.
So do you feel like the right 4 people were up for elimination?
There were some in there, like I had mentioned, that had gotten bids that I didn't think, or buys that I didn't think should have. So I was a little mixed, but there wasn't anyone who was in the bottom or who was up for elimination that I didn't think shouldn't be.
Should be there, yeah. I agree with you. I feel like everybody that was up, the 4 people, I think it was deserved. I do.
Yeah.
And then finally, you know, no surprise, David was eliminated.
Well, actually, what happened? Didn't they end up? Did they narrow it down to the 3? So they narrowed it down to Priscilla, David, and Johanna, where the judges. So you know, the mentors decided to take David out of the running, which not David. I'm sorry, Daniel out of the running, which I wasn't surprised about because I feel like they really have a lot of. They have a lot of hopes for him. I think they're really wanting to see what he can really do. And that didn't surprise me that the mentors didn't put him in the bottom 3. So then we got Priscilla, David, and Johanna, which, like you said, it was David who ended up going home. I'm not surprised. I totally knew. Yeah.
Were you surprised to see David go?
No, I mean, this was his 3rd week where he got no buys. He knew he was on the chopping block. He knew it was potential for him to go. And as much as I hated Johanna's dress, the black and red dress, I think she did great things in the prior weeks, and I want her to redeem herself. Like, in some ways, I'm really going to be rooting for Johanna and Priscilla in the upcoming weeks, and Daniel too, because I feel like they're all really fantastic designers and need to really redeem themselves. So I'm really excited to see maybe this lit a fire under their butts or something. So that's it.
Episode 3, huh?
Yeah, it was a good episode. I'm loving this show. I love it. It's so much, and it's also fun to talk about it and recap it. And guys, if you're listening to us on iTunes or on YouTube, definitely make a comment, rate us 5 stars. Hopefully we're giving you kind of what you want here. And if we're not, let us know what we can do. And in the next coming weeks, we're going to be coming up with some guests and really fun things for you guys. So definitely rate us on iTunes, and I think that's it. That's our show. Diona, where can everyone find you?
Everybody can find me on Twitter. You can find me at Go2GirlTV. That's Go2GirlTV. And, I'm looking forward to the rest of this season. Just like you said, Erika, we're going to have a lot of great, fun guests, and it's only going to get better.
And, in addition to finding you on Twitter, they can also find you on the freeway in L.A.
Exactly. You can find me stuck in traffic in L.A. But I'm glad we were able to work this out.
I'm really glad, too. And I'm your host, Erika Vieira, and you can find me on Twitter at Erika Vieira LA. You can also check out my clothing line. It's called rallybabe.com. And that's our show for you guys. So thank you so much for listening and watching, and we'll see you next week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AFTERBUZZTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.